Welcome, everyone. We're going to give everyone just a few more minutes to join us. But while we wait, there's a few features in the product I'd like to show off. The first one is actually new, and it is our date helpers. So if you were here last month, you would have seen this contractor invoices document and how Grist uses Grist. Here we've got a couple of date columns. Oops. Invoice date, invoice start, invoice end. Now, when you go to add a column, I'm going to just use the plus icon. And under shortcuts, we have date helpers. And so when you hover over it, you'll see all of your date columns available. And so you pick whichever date column you want more information about. So let's just do invoice date. And then now you can pick out all of these different pieces of information that you can pull out from the date. So if you just want to pull out the year or the month or the quarter, day of week, you can do all of this now from the add column menu. There's tons of different options available, so definitely check it out. One of the common ways that this is super useful is when you're creating summary tables and you want to group by month and year. Now you just have these month and year quick picks, and you don't have to figure out what the formula is. You can just come in here. Again, it's just clicking that plus icon. Under shortcuts, you'll see date helpers. You pick your date column that you want more information for, and then you select the information you want to pull out into a formula. So super cool new feature. I'm really excited about that. It saves me a lot of time because I add all of these columns so often. And then the next feature I want to show you, it's not a new feature. It's just something that I forgot existed. We did Grist Secrets, I think, 2 months ago, and it would have fit in really well with that. So the first one is actually with access rules. So let's say you have access rules on your document and you want to see how it looks for a specific user. The way I would always go and do it is click into access rules, click view as, pick my person. It's a lot of clicks. If you just click this 3-dot icon to the right of access rules, you can do it from this menu. So a little Grist secret for you is that you can just do it from there. Another little secret that I never knew existed is on the home page. So when you come into Grist and you see all of this stuff on your homepage, you got your 3-minute video tour, the Grist Basics tutorial, status bar, this green thing where you can do all these different things. It's a lot, and then you have all your documents. You can actually hide this. So the 3-dot icon at the upper right, you just toggle that to only show documents, and now you can hide all of those things. So a couple little secrets for you, and then of course, the new feature of date helpers that I wanted to show off. So hello everyone, and welcome to our November webinar. Last month, we explored how Grist uses Grist, showing off some of the cool ways that Grist employees use Grist, both for work and for personal use. If you weren't able to attend, you can find a recording of that webinar, along with all of our previous webinars on our YouTube channel under the Build with Grist webinar playlist. And a recording of this webinar will be available there as well sometime next week. In today's webinar, we are going to use Grist's built-in AI assistant to build a document from scratch. So back in May, we did a similar webinar demonstrating all the cool things that the assistant could do then, but it's improved dramatically since then. So we wanted to show it off again. So we spent a lot of time brainstorming which use case to showcase today. As you know, there's a lot of great ways to use Grist. It's hard to choose just one. So instead of going with something typical, we did decide to have a little fun with it and add some holiday cheer. And so I made sure that my background fit the mood. So today we're helping Santa step into the digital age by using the assistant to build his naughty and nice list right here in Grist. So to get started, the assistant is available under the tools menu in the left-hand navigation panel. When you open it, it immediately explains like what it can and can't do, how to talk to it. It says talk to me just like a person. And it also talks about how your data is handled if you choose to use it. So there is a link to the data use policy. Just click learn more here. I recommend reviewing it before using the assistant. By using the assistant, you are opting in. So be sure to just check that out. So let's get building. So again, we're doing this from scratch. So let's just tell the assistant what our goal is. So we're going to tell it, pretend I'm one of Santa's elves. I want to build Santa's naughty or nice list in Grist. Can you help me? Okay, so it's set up some tables for us. We have this children's table, name, age, status, and it says naughty or nice. Okay. Then we have behavior records, includes child, behavior, date, and notes. And it's asking if it wants us to add a few example records. Yes. Okay. So we have Timmy and Sally, their ages, their status. That all looks good. Behavior records, not looking as great. We've got some behaviors. We've got some notes. But child is just showing a number. We want this linked to the children's table. It doesn't look like it did that. And then date looks crazy. So let's tell it to fix some things. And again, you talk to it just like a person. So we're just saying child is just showing a number. Okay, so at least it updated it to a reference column, but it's still showing a number. Okay, there we go. It's finally fixed it. It's linked each child to a behavior. So we got that fixed. Looks good. Now we need to fix date. We don't even have to be too specific. We're just going to say date looks weird. See what happens. Okay, so it updated the column type to date, but obviously it's still looking not readable. There we go. Okay. So we said it was weird, said it was red. It finally figured out how to give us a proper date format. The issue is it says it in Unix, I think, to start. And so it's trying to figure out what format it needs to be. So just keep telling it. If it's not showing you the right thing, just tell it it's not showing you the right thing and it'll fix it. Okay, and let's say we want to change the format of the date. We can tell that to it as well. Cool. Okay, so that looks good. We have our children's table. We have some behavior records. Oh, it's not actually telling us if a behavior is naughty or nice. So let's add that. Okay, so it said it added a behavior type and it's added naughty and nice as the options. Cool. Let's add some colors to those options. We'll add some emojis too. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it says it added some faces and some colors. Let's see what it looks like. Didn't add colors, but it did add our faces. There we go. Okay. And it's a little hard to read, so we can tell it to fix the colors. Looks good. So his behavior is nice, hers is naughty. That looks good so far. Now it'd also be good to track their gifts so that we know what they got for Christmas. Okay, so it tells us it created a new gifts table. Great. Child, a reference to the children's table. Let's click over and look at this. We have gift name, category, and status. And it's asking again, do you want to add some example records? Yes. A lot easier to see if things are set up correctly when you have example records in there. And because it is sending your data to ChatGPT, then, because it's example data, that it's safe. So when you're setting up your document, just have it plug in some sample data so you can get it set up. And then once the document's in a good spot, you can put in your own data. Oh, this looks good. We could make these two columns drop-down columns. We call them choice columns in Grist. You don't have to use our exact language to get the assistant to do what you want. So now we have some categories. We have our statuses. If you wanted to add colors, you could just tell it to do that, just like we had with the naughty and nice. But for now, let's have it add a bunch more data. Okay, there we go. So it added some categories in there that it didn't have before. We could tell it to fix those. Let's see, but that looks good. Otherwise, jump over to behavior logs. You can always minimize the assistant if it's in your way. Just click these little arrows that are pointing to each other. Okay, we've got a bunch of behaviors for all of these kids. Looks good. And then we added more children. That looks good as well. So we just had one thing to fix on the gifts table here. There were some categories that don't yet exist. We got fixed them. So it updated that drop-down list to include whichever ones it added. So that looks good. Okay, so we've got gifts. We've got these wonderful behaviors. Wonderful, some are naughty. But now we actually need to know if a child is naughty or nice. So let's go to the children's table. Here we've got the status column, but it's not doing anything. It's just saying nice or naughty. We'd rather it calculate that for us. So let's tell the assistant to do that. So we just explained to it what we want. If the child has done more naughty things than nice, it should show as naughty, but otherwise it should be nice. Okay, so now we see that's a formula column because we have that little equal sign. We can double click it and look at the formula. So it's naughty if it's counting the behavior records for this child when the behavior is naughty. And if there's more naughty ones than nice, then it's going to be naughty. And otherwise, it's nice. Okay, that looks good. If we wanted, we could make this colorful. So like in the behavior log, we've got colors and we've got the little emojis. We can ask it to do the same thing here. Cool. There we go. So now we have the status. It's got some colors on it. It's got some emojis, so it looks nice. Cool. So far we have a really nice document. It shows our children. We have all of their behaviors for the year now, marked as naughty or nice. We know what gifts we're giving them. We also know overall if they're naughty or nice. If they've done a lot of naughty things, marked as naughty. So this is a pretty good naughty and nice list so far. But Santa wants to use this year after year. This is just good for this year so far. So let's make some updates so it'll continue to be useful. So again, we'll just tell the assistant what we want. So let's added a year column to behavior records and gifts. So let's take a look. Behavior records. Okay, there is a year column with no data. Year column with no data. Okay. Well, let's start with behavior records. We already know the year because of this date column. So we can just tell it to use the date. Here I specifically said, I called out the behavior records table. You don't have to do that. It does know what page you're on. And so it knows I'm looking at a view of the behavior records table because that's the only thing here. But I told it more out of habit than anything. Okay, so here we go. We have the year being pulled with a formula. So when we add a record, this year will automatically be added. And so the gifts table also has this year column, but no data in it. Okay, so it's added 2025 like we asked, but it would be a lot easier if this set the year automatically for us so we can tell it to do that. Basically, when I create a new gift record, I just want the year to be the current year. That's actually going to make it a trigger formula so I can still come back and update the year if I need to. So if the elves are really on top of gifts for 2026, but it's still 2025, maybe they're working the day after Christmas already, then they can still update it as needed. So let's test this. Let's add a new record for Timmy. It's giving an error. So let's take a look at that. So it's giving us this error. I'm just going to copy it. Let's tell it threw an error. I'll see if it fixes it without telling it what the error is. In my experience, it sometimes needs you to tell it the error. So let's add another record, another error, the same error. So, okay, so we're going to just copy paste the error in. Okay, now let's give it a shot and see if sharing the error fixed it. It did. So there we go. Now we have Oliver. I created the new record. It is currently 2025, so it is registering the current year. Perfect. Okay, so gifts looks good. We've got a year there. Behavior records looks good. We have already got the year there. Now in the children's table, we want age to update because every year the kid is getting older. So we probably need to know their birth date too. Automatically calculate the age of each kid based on their birthday. Okay, it added a birthday column, made the age column a formula. We have no data yet in birthday, so it's throwing an error. It's really bad at randomizing dates. So as we see, it just did one date after the other, so all the kids are the same age. So let's tell it to randomize that at that. Now that's not really that important, but if we get some different years, we can make sure that the age is calculating correctly. Okay, so now at least we have some different years and put them all on the same date. But okay, now we have tons of different ages. That looks good. And it'll continue to update every year for us. Now, one thing that's going on with the behaviors is that every date in 2025 is counting towards 2025. If that's the case, all their 2025 presents are getting delivered on December 25th, which means their behavior from December 25th through the new year does not count at all. They could be naughty all of those days, and they just erase it for 2026. So let's update that so our year actually runs from December 25th through December 24th of the following year. Let's tell the assistant to do that. I'm also just going to give it an example of what I mean. Again, your spelling does not need to be accurate. You can see that I have a few errors, but it's going to figure it out. So it says that it's updated the year column for my new boundaries. So let's give that a test. We're just going to add a new one for the end of the year. And sure enough, it returns 2026. Awesome. And so now their behavior after Christmas counts. Okay, so now that we have that set, let's take a look at this status column. Right now, it's not taking into account the year. It's just looking at all of their behaviors. And so as the years goes on, it would not be accurate because we want to know their behavior for the specific year. So let's tell it to update it. Okay, it says it updated it. We can double check. Okay, so it's looking at the current year in this first line. And then we see that it's taking a look at those. Perfect. Okay, so now that's the current year status. So we can have it update the column header. Perfect. And then we're going to also track last year's status because, you know, Santa might want to know if a kid has been naughty 2 years in a row. It just means more coal for them. So let's add that next. Last year's status, everyone was nice because we don't actually have behavior records. And in the formula, it says it's naughty only if the naughty count is greater than the nice count. Well, there's no count, so therefore it's nice. They had no bad behaviors. Cool. So now we can compare the two. We can see how they did last year versus this year. It's a pretty good document. And this was all just with the assistant. Okay, so now let's actually build a dashboard that Santa could come in, see the naughty kids, see the nice kids, basically Santa's naughty and nice list. So let's ask the assistant how to do that. I don't know how many naughty kids versus nice kids. How do I do that? Well, that's not what I wanted. So it's giving me the counts. So I know that there's 4 naughty children, 6 nice children. Okay, so it's telling us create a summary table. See, it's not telling you exactly how to create a summary table, and that's kind of where the steps get a little fuzzy. But we will go ahead. We're going to create a new page. I'm going to make a dashboard. And to do that, we're just going to add a page. And we're going to summarize the children table. So it is telling us choose the children's table, summarize that, and then group by current year's status. Oops, because I clicked away, it closed. Oops. Add page, summarize children, and then we want current year status. Okay, and so now we see that there's 6 nice kids, 4 naughty. Let's rename the page. Okay, so now we see that it's renamed Santa's List. When you add an emoji to the front of a page name, it puts it into the little box. And so when your bar is collapsed, you just see the emoji, which is a fun little trick. Okay, so now let's actually make this dashboard. So we have our total number of nice kids, total number of naughty kids. I'd like to see those children when I click on a status. So let's tell it that. It's telling you how to do it, but it should be able to add this for us. Let's rephrase it. Okay, so it added a view of our children's table. And if you click the widget title, you'll see what the underlying data table is. So it is the children's table. It just updated the title to children by selected status. And so now when I select naughty, I see the naughty children. When I select nice, I see the nice kids. Now it would also be good to be able to see the children's behaviors and all of their gifts. So we can tell it to add those too. Okay, so we see the behaviors. It hasn't quite linked it because we still see all the children, but it has added the table. It does it in steps, so you kind of see it working through each part of the process. Okay, so now we see that we only see a single child's behaviors. And we'll minimize this so we can see. Okay, now I see the selected child's gifts. So if I select Charlie, I now see Charlie's behaviors, Charlie's gifts, Lucy. Awesome. So that looks good. Obviously, you can fix the dashboard yourself if you want to hide columns. You can right click, hide. We already know the child based on who's selected in the table. We can move things around. Looks good. And of course, if you want to add filters and whatnot, you can still do all of the same things that you would normally do. We just built the whole thing with the assistant. The assistant can't add filter buttons. I've tried to do that, but it will tell you how to do that. So if you're trying to figure out how to do something, you can ask it, and it will tell you if it can do it or not. Otherwise, it can share the steps to do it. Again, with the steps, if you're trying to follow them and you're not figuring it out, it's probably because it's wrong. Again, ChatGPT is not perfect. So take everything it says with a grain of salt. It's a learning process. Make the initial front end that the end user sees to add kids, behaviors, and tasks, etc. Yes. So we filled this all in with fake data, but you could clear it out and start from scratch, and now it's set up already to receive data. So I could add a child. Now it's given a type error for age because it's a birth date. There we go. It's 0, but nice. So you can still add data even though I've used the assistant to create all this fake data. I could probably tell it to clear all of the example data. Yeah, if you want to create one data entry screen, you just tell it how you want it set up, and it can do that. You can also add descriptions to widgets. So when you click on the widget title, there's this widget description box. I'm not sure if, let's see if the assistant can do it. Okay, so it had not updated what page I was viewing, and so it added test to the children by selected status, but it did add the description, so that's pretty cool. You can add descriptions to widgets as well as column headers to help explain to your end users what the purpose of things are. But you could have the assistant build out that data entry dashboard for you. You just tell it exactly how you want it set up. Let's see. Seems like it's linked a lot, so it looks good so far. I'm just watching because it's still thinking. Oh, I just renamed the page to data entry dashboard. Awesome. Okay, so and then it just explained what it did. Okay, let's test it. So now we can add a child. Add Nick. We got 2 kids in there. I can enter a behavior. And because it's linked, it already includes the child. I can also do a gift. And it links that child again because the tables are linked like I asked it to. So it can build that dashboard for you. You just tell it what you want. I just said includes children and then linked tables for behaviors and gifts. And then, of course, if you wanted to change it further, you could just explain that to the assistant. But it does make it a lot easier when users just come to a single page to enter data. Just some general information about the assistant. If you share a document with multiple team members, they will not see your messages with the assistant. You will only see your own messages, and they will stay visible to you as long as you use the same non-private browser and you don't clear your browser data. Once you clear the data, their assistant will start from scratch again. But it's not like the changes would be gone or anything. It's just the history here. Just a quick overview of what the assistant currently can and cannot do. It can answer questions about your data, create or modify tables, pages, and most widgets, as we saw. It can link widgets, we saw that, and it can also help with formulas, and we saw that. It does know which page you're viewing. So like right now, it knows I'm viewing the data entry dashboard. It doesn't know where on the page you've selected though. So keep that in mind. If you are on a page like this that has multiple widgets, you will need to specify what widget you want it to make changes to. It will try and use context clues to figure it out though as well. It cannot create or modify charts, forms, access rules, or modify the page layout. So if I wanted to move behaviors down by gifts, I have to do that manually. The assistant's not going to rearrange that for me. And again, it doesn't know if you have something selected on the page. It just knows what page you're viewing. If you are on the free plan, either the free personal or the free team, you get 200 lifetime credits. If it is a free team plan, that's 200 credits for the entire team. The pro plan includes 100 credits per month. The business plan includes 2,000 credits per month. Let's see how many messages I've sent. So just in our webinar, I've sent 47. So if I was on a pro plan, that's almost half of my messages for the month, but it does reset at the end of the month for those paid plans. If you are on a paid plan, it would appear, the count would appear in your billing account page. So you can always keep an eye on that. If you do need more credits, there's 2 upgrade options that are available also on that billing account page. It's 500 credits for 500 monthly credits for $10 per month. And again, that's per team, not per person, or 2,000 monthly credits for $29 per month per team. Again, not per person. You might need more credits when you start building your documents, but once you have your documents set, you don't need those. So you can always go back down to whatever the original plan is. All of that information and more is on our Help Center page. That page will have all that information that I just rattled off with the pricing and the number of credits. It also has the data use policy there. So definitely check out that page. If you don't save the link today, just go to our Help Center, search assistant, you'll find it. And again, has access to your data. So keep that in mind before you start talking to it. Make sure you read the little learn more thing so that you know how your data is treated. And again, this section is just what pops up when you open the assistant. But thank you guys so much. Again, we're going to see you in just a couple weeks for our December webinar, December 4th. Mark it on your calendar. It will be in the newsletter. It will be recorded if you can't make it. But the topic is Grist's year in review. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye, guys.